One day I will have all of my technical difficulties sorted out. Today is not that day. Hey guys, happy Saturday and welcome back to Vlogger's Choice. Today I am continuing a list I started 2 weeks ago where I was going over my top 10 favorite books that I've read so far in 2016 because I've read so many great books so far this year and I want to talk about all of them. So I will leave a link to the first half of this video in the description down below and jump right into the second half pretty much now. So an unexpected theme in my reading so far this year has been World War II. It happened completely by accident, but I have read so many great World War II books so far this year, and I'm a little bit addicted. The first one that I read and loved came right at January. It was one of the first books I read this year, and it really got my reading year off to a great start because Front Lines by Michael Grant was fantastic. This was kind of a reimagining of World War II, where women were also able to be conscripted, and they ended up fighting on the front lines as well, which happened to some extent, but not really like it does in this book. This book is just amazing. It has 3 main characters. They are one white girl, one Jewish girl, and one black girl, so they are all experiencing this war from a very different point of view, but they are all such amazing characters that you connect with right away. It definitely helps if you have a love of history if you're going to jump into this book, but either way, it's pretty great. The other World War II book that I've loved so far in 2016 is Codename Verity by Elizabeth Wein, which also happens to be our book club pick for this month, and it is fantastic. Megan has recommended this book so many times, and I'm glad I finally listened to it because this book was incredible. It was a record-breaking audiobook experience for me. I couldn't stop listening to it, so I finished it in 3 days, which is like weeks ahead of the fastest audiobook I've ever listened to. I just could not stop. This is a dual point of view story covering 2 different women and their experiences helping the Allied forces during World War II. One is a pilot, one is something else that you kind of have to listen to the story to really appreciate. I say listen to, but you can also read it, although I do definitely recommend the audiobook. It was really engaging, but the story is heartbreaking and wonderful, and it's just a friendship story at its core, and I cannot recommend it enough. Speaking of audiobooks, another book I've loved so far in 2016 is Aristotle and Dante Discover the Secrets of the Universe. This is a contemporary story following 2 boys growing up in the 80s, and I can't even tell you what this is about. I know I put off reading this book for quite a while because I really couldn't figure out what it was all about, but so many people kept recommending it, so I'm basically going to do the same. You just need to jump into this story and appreciate it. It's not for everyone, it is a little bit slower, but I fell totally in love with this story. I listened to this one on audiobook as well and really enjoyed it that way, but I think I could have enjoyed it either reading or listening. Either way, you should check it out. Then moving back over to fantasy, I have Queen of the Tearling by Erica Johansson. This is a fantasy story that I heard recommended so many times by so many different people. I think one of those people was Rachel, but either way, so many people said this book was awesome, and it really, really was. This is a full-on fantasy story centering around a girl who is called up to be the Queen of the Tearling. She hasn't really grown up in the Tearling. She has been hidden away for most of her life in order to keep her safe, and she's not even sure she's going to make it to sitting on her own throne because basically everyone is against her. The main character in this story is pretty incredible. She's not like a lot of other main characters you're going to find in stories like this one, and I think that's what made the story so special, although the surrounding characters are also really, really great, and I just fell in love with everyone and the world. The magic system is interesting. We haven't really delved that deeply into it yet, but I'm really looking forward to jumping into the second book in this series, and I think the third one, which is the final book in the trilogy, comes out later this year, so if you're looking for a great fantasy, this is it. And finally, this is the most recent book that I have read and loved, and this one was definitely recommended by Rachel, and that is The Invisible Library by Genevieve Cogman. This is an adult fantasy story centered around this invisible library that serves as a connection between multiple dimensions, multiple worlds. Some of these worlds are like ours, some of them are infected by chaos, which means they have magical elements to them, and basically librarians work inside this library to go between the worlds and bring back books to the library, which on its own is just an awesome concept that I really could not resist reading. The story itself didn't center around the library as much as I would have wanted and was a little bit more like a paranormal or urban fantasy story, but I'm really interested to see how that story will connect to the main story, which centers more around the library, and I'm hoping in books 2 and 3 I do get to see more of this wonderful, wonderful world of books because that is what initially attracted me to the series, but even on its own, it's still a pretty awesome, just adventure story that is pretty much a must-read for anyone who loves books, which I assume is all of you. So that's it for my top 10 list. Hopefully there are enough recommendations here to keep you busy now that we are moving towards fall at a very, very scary pace. If you have any books you want to recommend to me, let me know in the comments and I will absolutely check those out because I am reading at an insane pace lately and I'm always looking for more book recommendations. So hopefully we will see you on Sunday for our next live chat. Happy reading, happy writing, and I'll see you next time.